Inclusion Strategies for Differentiation. I'm Dr. Lisa Silmser. IDEA is a U.S. law that protects the rights of students with disabilities in the schools, and it provides definitions of 13 disability categories. These categories are then implemented through state legislation to provide eligibility criteria for students in U.S. schools. Be aware that having a medical diagnosis does not automatically mean that a student will qualify for special education. 14% of students in the public school system have disabilities on this list, and most of them are in the general education classroom. Teachers need to be aware of how to meet the needs of their students. Following their IEP or individual education plan and partnering with their family and special education teachers are great first steps. But there are more things a teacher can do. So, how does one be the best teacher they can be for learners with disabilities? Mastropeiri and Scruggs have some suggestions that follow the letters P.A.S.S. or P.A.S.S. First, prioritize the objectives you're teaching. Make sure that the content and the learning targets are ones that are most important and worth the challenges and effort that students with disabilities need to exert. A. Adapt the instruction, the materials, or the environment. If a student needs larger print, provide it. If a student does better if they can have a few minutes before a test to deep breathe, offer this option to all the students in the class. If the fluorescent lights make a buzzing noise that stresses students with autism, work with your administration to get different lighting options. S is for systematically teach using the S.C.R.E.A.M variables. We'll get to those on the next slide. And S, systematically evaluate the outcomes of your teaching and learn from what works as well as what doesn't. Your students with and without disabilities need you to be the best that you can be for them. So that second S in P.A.S.S was systematically use the S.C.R.E.A.M variable. No, this does not mean you should scream at your students. Again, Mastropeiri and Scruggs suggest these 6 ways to think about instruction so as to best serve students with and without disabilities. First, make sure that lessons are structured. When students have explicit, sequential instruction, they're more likely to learn. Teaching with clarity is important. Be careful with your communication and make sure that you are loud enough and clear enough so that students are able to understand your message. R is for redundancy, which sounds bad, but really just means that critical elements of the lesson are repeated and that students have a chance to circle back on concepts that might be more challenging. E is for enthusiasm. Students learn better from teachers who are excited about and enjoying their content. It's also true that if you are bored, it's very likely that your students are too. A is for teaching at the appropriate rate. Slow down for things that need a bit more attention and speed up for content that is already known. Lastly, maximize engagement. Some things are just naturally more engaging, like playing games or allowing students to be creative. But even if you can have a note-taking page to complete during a video, students are more likely to engage with the material. And higher engagement almost always means greater learning. As a final reminder, kids with disabilities need great teachers. They need teachers who believe in them and see possibilities rather than limitations. Remember that despite labels and boxes, every child needs a teacher who can see them exactly as they are and who expects them to grow. Be a teacher who sees what's possible and then help your students go for it.